The world is ending, though few believe it. The Chaos Gods, the Dark Brothers, tire of their great game. Now, they seek to sweep the board clean with fire and blood. For centuries, the Empire has held firm against its enemies. Mankind has encountered no foe that steel could not tame, or whom walls could not hold. At least, that is what they taught.
We're stopping by Fatshark to learn a little bit more about something that you've been sort of keeping under wraps while you've had a lot of success on Steam with Vermintide. You haven't talked a lot about the console version. What can you say about the work that has gone into that?
First of all, the original plan was to release everything at the same time, but we felt the Vermintide project as a whole was such a big undertaking, so we felt like to treat each version as a separate entity, we needed to separate the releases just to be able to focus on the PC release early on, so make sure that it was the best possible experience for PC users. And now we're focusing a lot on the console versions to make that a really good console game. So it's not, we don't want to do a port or something like that. It should feel like it's a console game, it's a PC game. Of course, the core mechanics are there, but we felt really we needed to be able to change the game if we wanted to make it feel the best possible for each platform, because I mean it's obviously different to play with a controller and a mouse and a keyboard, so that was the basics. So it's great fun. Also, I think what's great with the console version is that we have done a lot of we listened to the feedback from the fans and from the journalists from the original game. There's always kind of stuff we want to address. We want to address the loot system, for example, that we want to make it a bit less random. It's very random. Even though it's fun, we wanted to add elements that gives the player more control of what they get in terms of loot. Of course, then there's specific features for the consoles that we want to look into. So yeah, I mean, it's great fun also. It's nice. I mean, it's nice to work with PC for many reasons, and it's nice to work with console for other reasons. I think the consoles, the big benefit from console is obviously it's a fixed platform, which is great because you know that if it runs, you know what the player's experience will be the same for every user, which is the easiest. The hardest way with the PC version is that you never know, because people could have some odd software, odd hardware, and it could be. But I mean, I play on both systems, so they have both their benefits. But we really needed to work to the strength of the consoles now and work to the PC strengths before.
Is there a specific thing about sort of that you felt like this needed a lot of work, taking it over from PC to console?
I think the main thing would be to get the controlling to feel right. The difficulty level is very important because it's a different thing to aiming with the console and with the mouse and keyboard. So we needed to make that work well. We also needed to look at a typical the performance of the console and performance of the PC to make sure we hit the right estimates. We're still playing around to make the best possible feeling. I mean, what we want to do is to make sure the game feels great. So that's the key thing for us to say, like, how would a gamer feel when they play the game on this console and that console? So I think that's the core for us right now. And we have done a lot of testing with the game and see how people react to it and try to view it as a new game from where we were with the PC version. I think so. We see what kind of weaknesses we have in terms of for a console player, because I think that's the biggest step we did from early productions to Vermintide was that we tried to focus only on the experience of the player. We didn't there's no idea doing a fancy sort of system if the player can't feel it. I mean, what the player feels when he plays the game is the core thing. So yeah, we try to continue working with that.
So when you say you touch the whole game, are you changing things like pacing and sort of how the weight of the characters and the weapon feel? Because I can feel that, like, going from mouse and keyboard to a controller. Of course, you can play the PC with the controller as well. But it feels like you could slow down the pace and make it feel a little heavier. Is that something you've looked at?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, as you say, it's a different feeling. I think the pacing is something we looked a lot. I mean, I would reckon that depending on how we play with the aiming system, that might be that more Skavens or the adversaries in Vermintide will reach you on the console than on the PC. So you need to balance up that. Also, we have seen a lot. We have learned a lot. I mean, we have improved the PC version a lot. We're working on the PC version every day, so we have learned a lot about the core game mechanics in the PC version, that we have enhanced the PC version, and that, of course, will go into the console. So I think as a first experience on the console, it will be a better experience than the first impression on the PC, because we have learned a lot, we got a lot of feedback, and yeah, we have matured. The game has matured after post-release, so to speak. So yeah.
Speaking of your experience as a publisher now, you have published games in the past, but this is a project on a bigger scale, and it's also coming out on both consoles. I can imagine that it's a little bit of a bigger process for you guys. What's that been like?
It's been, I mean, I think the big thing was we have had this experience before with smaller games, which has been a huge, really great experience, because we have learned a lot, and I mean, we've done a lot of mistakes in the past. We're still doing mistakes every day, but we learn from them, and I think that's the key thing. And the biggest thing with being a self-published is, one, you control the release date, which, I mean, obviously we haven't announced the console releases yet, but that's because we want to make it the best possible experience. So when we feel we're ready, I mean, we can't do like Blizzard said, like 10 years later on, so when it's done, but that's the mentality we try to have. We try to release it when it's done, basically. I think that's the key thing. The other thing is that we can be very open. I mean, we can say anything. There's nobody in between us and the fans, which the play base is really great for us. Has been fantastic with a lot of feedback, so much feedback, and it's something I can feel like people don't think we're listening, but we're scrolling through the forums all day, every day, looking at feedback, looking at Twitter, looking at Facebook. We try to answer everyone, and I can let anyone answer, basically, because there's nothing like besides basically me and the board and the management team here, and the pride of the studio, so to speak. So we can be much more open. I think that's also great, because we get a quicker turnaround of stuff as well in the game and outside. The task is of course daunting, because it's a bigger scale. It's much more money involved. But it's also fun, because it's easier to reach out to players, it's easier to reach out to media, it's so easier to sort of get recognition in media. I think a lot of stuff in Sweden happens as well. People reach out to you and want to do stuff outside of the typical gaming industry, which is nice, because people recognize that you're successful, which is awesome.
So you did mention you don't have a date for the console version. Do you have sort of time frame when you hope to be ready?
Yeah, we have said the first half this year, and still it's like, I mean, that's what we're aiming for, but we have like monthly tests where we see like, are we tracking a release before the summer? If we at some point feel like we need to push it a bit, we weren't going to do it, but I mean, it will be for sure out this year. That's so much I can assure you, but until I have played the game through on a console and feels really happy about it, and we're probably going to bring in focus group from players, so see they're happy with it, and then we're going to launch it, basically. And it's I mean, we will for sure be done with the game before the summer in the state, but it might be that, I mean, it's some turnaround with testing on the console manufacturers, and that could push it after the summer, but we'll see. I mean, we're still targeting the first half of this year, but it depends on the game and the quality, because we can't afford to release a bad game. I mean, that's or we can't even afford to release a good game. We need to release a great game. I think that's a big difference now. We need to do great stuff all the time. I think it comes down that you can't. You're also all the time. You're not competing for the money anymore, like for the players' money. It's more competing for the time, and you compete with movies. You compete with books and everything like that. So it's super important. I mean, if I go to the movie, I maybe pick 2 movies a year, and it's the best one, the really best grades, or the best. I think it's the best fit for me. So I think it's much the same with games. It's like you need to do the best games in the genre you're working on. So, and I mean, we are targeting the co-op audience, especially the melee first-person type of games, that we want to be best in that area.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Stem
Thank you.
the Vermintide.
A trap!